The words hit me like a fist to the gut, raw and unfiltered, echoing in the dim haze of the crowded bar. "Go home if you're jealous," she spat, her eyes flashing with that familiar mix of defiance and something darker, something that looked a hell of a lot like contempt. My wife Sarah, the woman I'd built a life with for 8 years, leaned into the stranger's shoulder, her laughter bubbling up like champagne she hadn't earned. I stood there, frozen in the doorway, the sticky heat of the place clinging to my skin, the bass from the speakers thumping against my chest like a second heartbeat. Jealous. Hell, it wasn't jealousy. It was the sickening realization that the life I thought was mine was crumbling right in front of me, piece by jagged piece. I didn't storm in. Didn't make a scene. Instead, I turned on my heel, the cool night air slapping my face as I pushed through the door. My keys jangled in my pocket, a mocking reminder of the home we shared, the one with the mismatched mugs in the cabinet and the dent in the couch from where we'd collapsed together after long days. As I slid into the car, my hands gripped the wheel so tight my knuckles whitened. Anger surged first, hot and blinding, visions of smashing that guy's smug face flashing through my mind. But underneath it, humiliation coiled like a snake, whispering that I was the fool who'd missed the signs. The late nights at work, the secretive texts, the way her touch had grown perfunctory, like an obligation rather than desire. Driving home, the city lights blurred into streaks through the windshield, mirroring the chaos in my head. How long had this been going on? Weeks? Months? I replayed our last fight in my mind, the one about her girls' nights that stretched into the wee hours. "You're suffocating me, Mark," she'd said then, her voice laced with irritation. Suffocating. I'd been the one holding us together, working overtime to pay for the house she loved, the vacation she dreamed of. Heartbreak clawed at my chest, a deep, aching void that made breathing feel like a chore. I pulled into our driveway, the house looming dark and silent, and for a moment I fantasized about packing her things, leaving them on the porch like discarded trash. But no, that was too easy. Too clean. Inside, the air smelled of her. Lavender from the diffuser she insisted on, mixed with a faint trace of last night's dinner I'd cooked. I poured a whiskey, the glass cool against my palm, and sank into the armchair by the window. Resentment bubbled up, thick and bitter. She'd always been the charismatic one, the one who lit up rooms while I lingered in the shadows, content to watch her shine. But now it felt like she'd been using that light to blind me. Obsession crept in as I scrolled through her social media on my phone, zooming in on photos from that bar she'd posted earlier. There he was in the background of one, tall, broad-shouldered, his hand brushing her arm. Who the hell was he? Colleague? An old flame? The questions gnawed at me, fueling a cold resolve that started as a whisper. She thinks she can dismiss me like that? Fine. But she'll regret it. I didn't sleep that night. Instead, I paced the living room, the carpet muffling my footsteps, my mind racing through scenarios. Denial flickered briefly. Maybe it was innocent, a flirtation gone too far. But no, her words echoed. Go home if you're jealous. It was an admission wrapped in cruelty. Guilt tugged at me too. Had I driven her to this? Was I too predictable, too safe? I thought of our wedding day, her in that white dress, eyes sparkling with promises. Now those promises felt like lies. By dawn, the anger had solidified into something sharper. Planning. I wouldn't confront her yet. I'd watch, gather evidence, let her dig her own grave. The moral conflict hit hard. Was I becoming the monster here, spying on my own wife? But betrayal justified it, didn't it? Or was that just resentment talking? The sun rose, casting long shadows across the kitchen as I brewed coffee. The machine gurgled, a mundane sound in the midst of my turmoil. I heard her key in the lock around 7 a.m., earlier than I'd expected. She stumbled in, makeup smudged, hair tousled, the scent of cheap cologne clinging to her like a confession. Our eyes met, and for a split second, surprise flickered across her face. Then it hardened into defensiveness. "Mark, what are you doing here?" she asked, dropping her purse on the counter with a thud. Her voice was hoarse, laced with the remnants of laughter from the night before. "I live here," I replied flatly, stirring my coffee without looking up. The spoon clinked against the mug, a tiny act of normalcy in the storm. She laughed, but it was forced, brittle. I mean, I thought you'd... Never mind. Rough night. Rough night. The understatement ignited a spark of rage, but I swallowed it, forcing a neutral tone. You could say that. Where were you? Out with friends. Like I told you. She avoided my gaze, pouring herself a glass of water, her hands trembling slightly. Was that guilt? Or just hangover jitters? Friends, I echoed, the word tasting like ash. I wanted to press, to demand details, but suspense demanded patience. Let her squirm. That guy seemed friendly. Her shoulders tensed, the glass pausing midway to her lips. What guy? The one you were leaning on when you told me to go home. I kept my voice even, but inside fury roiled. Her reaction would tell me everything. She set the glass down hard, water sloshing over the rim. You were spying on me. God, Mark, that's pathetic. Pathetic. The word stung, fueling the humiliation anew. But I saw the fear in her eyes, the first crack in her facade. No, Sarah. I was picking you up like we planned. But you seemed occupied. She rolled her eyes, but her cheeks flushed. It was nothing. Just flirting. You're overreacting. Flirting. The admission was a knife twist, but it confirmed what I needed. Heartbreak mingled with resentment, a toxic brew. Flirting while married. That's your story. Jesus, not this again. She turned away, heading for the stairs. I'm tired. We'll talk later. As she climbed, her footsteps heavy, I stared at her retreating back. Obsession gripped me tighter. I needed to know more. That afternoon, while she napped, I checked her phone, left carelessly on the charger. Password unchanged. She never thought I'd snoop. Texts from Alex, the guy from the bar. Last night was amazing. Can't wait for round 2. My stomach churned, visions of them together invading my mind. Denial shattered completely. This wasn't a one-off. It was an affair. Guilt warred with anger as I screenshot everything, forwarding them to my email. Was this invasion justified? Or was I crossing into obsession? But the cold resolve won out. I'd play the long game, let her think everything was fine while I planned. Revenge wasn't about confrontation. It was about making her feel the same humiliation, the same shattering loss. Over the next week, tension simmered like a pot on low boil. We moved around each other like ghosts, dialogue sparse and loaded. Pass the salt, she'd say at dinner, her voice clipped. I'd comply, our fingers brushing, sending a jolt of resentment through me. Inside, I catalogued her lies. The late meeting that smelled like his cologne, the whispered phone calls in the bathroom. My inner thoughts fractured. Part of me yearned to forgive, to reclaim what we'd had, but the betrayal festered, turning love to poison. One evening, as rain pattered against the windows, creating a rhythmic backdrop to our silence, she broke. Mark, we need to talk. I looked up from my book, heart pounding. Was this confession? Or deflection? About us. She sat across from me, twisting her wedding ring, a habit when nervous. Things haven't been right for a while. Understatement of the year. I nodded, feigning concern. What's wrong? Her eyes welled up, manipulative or genuine. I feel trapped. Like I'm losing myself. Trapped. While she cavorted with another man. Fury bubbled, but I masked it. Is there someone else? She hesitated, a tell. No. Just space. Liar. The word screamed in my head, but I smiled sadly. Okay. Take your space. Her relief was palpable, a knife in my gut. That night as she slept, I hacked her email. Easy, since we shared passwords for trust. More evidence. Hotel receipts, flirty exchanges. The planning phase began in earnest. I'd expose her, but not crudely. Something poetic, something that mirrored her betrayal. Doubt crept in during quiet moments. Was revenge worth it? Would it heal the heartbreak or deepen the wound? Moral conflict raged. An eye for an eye left everyone blind, but blindness felt better than this constant ache. I fantasized about confronting Alex, but no, he was a pawn. Sarah was the architect of my pain. Suspense built slowly. I started small acts of sabotage, canceling her meetings via her calendar, watching her panic. Must be a glitch, she'd mutter, rescheduling with him. Each lie she told widened the chasm, my resentment growing into obsession. The house felt claustrophobic, every creak of the floorboards a reminder of our fractured bond. By week's end I had a plan. It involved her best friend Lisa, who I suspected knew everything. Casual coffee meet, probing questions. Sarah seems distant, I'd say. Lisa's evasion would confirm complicity. Then the trap. But as I lay awake, staring at the ceiling fan's lazy spin, fear mingled with resolve. What if this backfired? What if I lost everything? The emotional journey was brutal. Denial to acceptance, fantasies of justice tainted by guilt. Yet the pursuit called to me irresistible. The plan crystallized over the following days, a web of calculated moves woven in the shadows of our crumbling marriage. I feigned reconciliation, cooking her favorite pasta one evening, the kitchen filled with the sizzle of garlic and the tangy aroma of tomatoes. Truce, I said, setting the table with candles flickering like false hope. She smiled, tentative but genuine, or so it seemed. Truce. We ate in relative peace, conversations skirting the abyss. Work's been crazy, she offered, fork twirling noodles. Crazy how? I probed gently, masking the interrogation. Just deadlines. Her eyes darted away, a subtle tell I'd learned to spot. Inside, obsession thrummed. I'd tracked Alex via social media, a mid-level exec at her firm, married too, with kids. Perfect symmetry for revenge. But I held back, letting suspense build. That night, as we lay in bed, her back to me, the sheets cool between us, I whispered, "I love you." Her murmured response felt hollow, fueling my cold resolve. The next morning I called in sick to work, heart racing as I tailed her to the office. The city buzzed around me, horns blaring, pedestrians weaving like ants, but my focus was laser-sharp. Parked across the street, I watched her enter the building, then him arrive minutes later, their greeting in the lobby too lingering, too intimate. Humiliation surged anew, but I channeled it into action. Phase 1, infiltrate. I befriended Alex's wife anonymously online, posing as a concerned colleague via a fake account. "I think your husband's cheating," I messaged, attaching blurred photos from the bar. Doubt plagued me. Was this too far? Moral grayness enveloped me. Betrayal begot betrayal, but at what cost to innocence? Her response came swift. "Who is this?" Proof. I sent more, carefully edited to implicate without revealing myself. The seed was planted. Back home, Sarah noticed my distraction. "You okay?" she asked over lunch, her tone laced with feigned concern. "Fine. Just thinking." My voice was steady, but inside resentment boiled. How dare she pretend? That afternoon I met Lisa at a cafe, the air thick with espresso and chatter. "Sarah's acting weird," I said, stirring my latte. Lisa fidgeted, avoiding eye contact. "She's stressed." Stressed or seeing someone? I pressed, watching her crumble. "Mark, I." She trailed off, guilt etched on her face. Confirmation. Anger flared, but I smiled. Thanks for the honesty. As I left, the pieces aligned. Suspense peaked that evening. Sarah came home late again, reeking of him. "Traffic," she lied. I nodded, pouring wine. "To us." The toast was ironic, tension crackling like static. As we drank, her phone buzzed. Alex. She silenced it, but I saw the name. Heartbreak twisted into triumph. The trap was set. The following day I executed. I forwarded the evidence to her boss. Anonymous tip about office affair affecting productivity. Then to Alex's wife the full dossier. Finally to Sarah's family group chat. Photos, texts, a note. "Thought you should know." Chaos erupted. Her phone lit up like fireworks as I watched from the den, feigning work. "What the hell?" she screamed, bursting in. I looked up innocently. "Problem. Someone's spreading lies. My boss called HR investigation. And Mom's freaking out." Lies. The irony burned. "What lies?" She paced, tears streaming, guilt manifesting as panic. "About me and a coworker." "Ah." I stood, voice calm. "Alex." Her face paled, shock rippling through her. "How did you?" "I know everything." The confession hung heavy, suspense giving way to confrontation. "You did this." Her voice cracked, a mix of fury and betrayal. "Me." "You're the one who cheated." Raw emotion poured out. Anger, humiliation, heartbreak. "You told me to go home. So I did. And planned." He slumped, sobbing. "It was a mistake. I was lonely. Lonely. While I slaved for us." Resentment peaked. Mistake. Months of lies. The door buzzed, police. No, Alex's wife, storming in unannounced. "You bitch," she yelled, lunging at Sarah. I stepped back, watching the melee. Fists flying, screams echoing. Moral conflict hit. Had I gone too far? But seeing Sarah's world shatter mirrored mine. A twisted justice. In the aftermath, as cops arrived, called by neighbors, Sarah glared at me through tears. "You'll regret this." But the twist came later. Amid the ruins, I found her journal. Hidden in the attic. Entries about my own affair 2 years ago, one I'd buried deep, thinking it forgiven. "Mark cheated first," she wrote. "This is payback." Shock floored me. My revenge. Built on hypocrisy. Heartbreak doubled, my own betrayal had sown this. Guilt consumed me, the poetic justice turning inward. As she packed, our eyes met one last time. "We're even," she whispered. "Even." Well, we were broken. Obsession had blinded me to my flaws, revenge a mirror reflecting my darkness. The house empty, I sat alone, the silence deafening, wondering if justice ever truly balanced the scales.